There's no miracle to save me once I've fallen. You should know this before you ever try to reach me again. I didn't fall by accident, and I didn't fall because I was weak. I fell because I chose to. I stepped into the dark with my eyes open, knowing exactly what it would cost me, and somewhere in that fall, I stopped waiting for mercy. I stopped believing that love comes with soft landings. If you're listening to me now, understand this first. What I am today was built in the absence of rescue. I learned how quiet the world becomes when no one comes running for you. I speak to you like this because you're not here, and maybe that's the only way I can be honest. If you were standing in front of me, I'd hide these words behind silence and pride, but alone I can tell you the truth. I wanted you even when I knew wanting you would ruin me. I chose you knowing you would never fully choose me back. And still, I let you live inside me like a wound I refused to heal. This isn't romance. This is possession, obsession, and the love that learned how to survive without hope. You think falling means losing control? You're wrong. Falling is when you realize control was always an illusion. I watched myself change. My voice hardened, my heart turned cold, my faith burned out slowly, not because of pain alone, but because pain stayed. I became someone who doesn't ask to be saved anymore. Someone who understands that miracles don't visit men like me. If you ever wondered why I don't beg, why I don't chase, why I don't explain myself, this is why. I already know how the story ends. And still, you're the one thing I never escape, not physically, not emotionally. You live in the spaces between my thoughts, in the nights where sleep refuses to come. I don't blame you for my fall, but I won't lie either. You were the edge. You were the reason I leaned forward instead of stepping back. Loving you didn't break me all at once. It broke me slowly, beautifully, until I stopped recognizing the man I used to be. So if you ever hear my name in a whisper or feel my presence in your quiet moments, remember this: I'm not waiting for a miracle, and I'm not asking you to save me. I've made peace with the fall. I ruled the darkness I landed in. I just needed you to know. Once I fell, there was no way back, and I never wanted there to be. I learned how to breathe in the dark without asking for light. At first, it felt like punishment, like the world had decided I deserved the cold and the silence. But over time, I understood something you never saw. I was becoming sharper down here, stronger. Pain stopped being an enemy and turned into a companion that never lied to me, stayed when everyone else left. And in that honesty, I found a strange kind of peace. You might think I'm lost, but I know exactly where I am. I built myself in the place where hope dies. I talk to you like this because you were the last thing that made me feel human. After you, emotions became a language I stopped speaking out loud. I buried everything under control and distance. Don't confuse that with healing. This isn't recovery, this is adaptation. I didn't move on from you. I moved around the damage you left behind. I shaped my life so it wouldn't touch the parts of me that still bleed your name. There were nights I almost reached for you, moments when my pride cracked and my hands shook. But I remembered how easily you could undo me. You never needed weapons, your absence was enough. So I stayed silent, not because I was strong, but because I knew one word from you could drag me back to the edge. And I refused to fall twice for the same reason. I may live in darkness, but I'm not careless with my ruin. You should understand something important about me now. I don't love the way innocent men love. I don't dream of forever or safe endings. My love is heavy, consuming, and dangerous because it comes from someone who has already lost everything worth saving. If I ever stand in front of you again, you won't meet the boy who once waited. You'll meet a man who owns his shadows and doesn't apologize for them. Sometimes I wonder if you ever felt the weight of what we almost were, or if I was just a chapter you closed without rereading. For me, You were never a chapter. You were the entire book. Every page after you is written in a different ink, darker, thicker, harder to erase. I don't hate you for that. Hate would mean you still had power over me. What I feel now is quieter and far more permanent. I don't ask you to miss me. I don't ask you to regret anything. I just want you to know that someone loved you past the point of self-preservation. Someone chose the fall because standing beside you felt higher than any safe ground ever could. That kind of love doesn't end. It just changes shape. It turns into distance, silence, and a heart that no longer looks for exits. So if you ever sense me without seeing me, don't be afraid. I'm not coming to be saved, and I'm not coming to save you either. I exist exactly where I belong, between what we were and what will never be. I survived the fall, not because of a miracle, but because I stopped believing I needed one. I don't measure time the way I used to. Days pass, nights blur together, and somewhere in between I keep becoming someone you wouldn't recognize. Not better, not worse, just harder. I learned that when you stop expecting anything from the world, it can't disappoint you anymore. That lesson came with a price, and I paid it willingly. I carry it in my silence, in the way I don't explain myself to anyone, especially not to you. You were the only risk I ever took without calculating the damage. Everything else in my life was controlled, planned, contained. But you slipped past all of that. You made me reckless in a way that felt alive. And when it ended, it didn't explode. It drained me slowly. Like blood loss, you don't notice until you're already weak. That's how I learned the most dangerous endings are the quiet ones. I don't replay memories because I enjoy them. I replay them because they remind me why I don't open doors anymore. Your voice, your absence, the things you never said, they taught me restraint better than any warning ever could. You might think I closed my heart because of pain, but that's only half the truth. I closed it because I know how deeply I'm capable of feeling, and I won't survive that twice. If you ever wondered why I never came back, why I never fought harder, understand this. I was already fighting myself. Every step toward you felt like betrayal to the man I was trying to become. Loving you meant unmaking myself, and I had already lost too much to offer that sacrifice again. Walking away wasn't weakness. It was the only form of control I had left. My world now is built on rules I don't break. Distance is one of them. So is silence. They keep me functional, not happy. But happiness was never the goal after you. Survival was, and I became very good at it. Too good, maybe. Good enough that even when your name crosses my mind, it doesn't stop me anymore. It just slows me down. Don't mistake this calm for emptiness. There's fire under it, controlled and contained. I didn't lose my capacity to love. I buried it where no one can reach. That's what falling taught me. That some parts of you must be hidden if you want to keep breathing. You didn't destroy me. You revealed the parts of me the world isn't allowed to touch. So this is me speaking to you without expecting an answer. Not asking for closure, not offering forgiveness, not reopening wounds. Just letting you exist in my words one last time. I felt I survived and I changed. And if our paths never cross again, know this, I didn't rise from the fall. I learned how to rule the place. I landed. I stopped asking myself what you're doing now, who you became, or whether you ever think of me. Those questions belong to a softer version of me that no longer exists. The man speaking to you now doesn't search for answers that can weaken him. I let uncertainty stay unanswered because certainty was never kind to me. Loving you taught me that knowing too much can be just as dangerous as knowing nothing at all. There's a difference between being alone and choosing isolation. I chose it. I built walls not to keep people out, but to keep myself intact. You were the proof that one person is enough to dismantle everything I protected. So I adjusted. I learned how to keep my distance without looking cold, how to care without showing it, how to exist without offering access. If that makes me cruel in your memory, I can live with that. You should understand something about the silence I keep. It isn't empty. It's heavy with everything I never said to you. Every unspoken word became discipline. Every emotion I swallowed turned into control. I didn't heal by letting go, I healed by mastering restraint. That's not a lesson I'd wish on anyone, but it's the one that shaped me into someone who no longer bleeds in public. Sometimes I imagine you hearing these words without knowing they're meant for you. That's fitting. You were always closest to me when you didn't realize it. Even now, you don't need to answer. I'm not speaking to be heard. I'm speaking to release the weight of carrying you quietly for so long. This isn't confession. It's closure on my terms. If love ever finds me again, it won't look like what we had. It will be colder, slower, and far more controlled. I won't give someone the power to undo me the way you did. That doesn't mean I regret you. Regret implies change something. If I could, I wouldn't. You were the lesson I needed, not the ending I wanted. You once saw the part of me that believed in impossible things. That part didn't die. It hardened. It learned that miracles are stories we tell ourselves before reality teaches us discipline. I don't wait anymore. I don't hope blindly. I move forward with intention, knowing exactly what I'm willing to lose and what I refuse to sacrifice again. So this is where my words end, not because I have nothing left to say, but because I've said enough to free myself. You can stay in the past where you belong, untouched and unchanged. I'll stay here grounded in what I've become. I fell, yes, but I didn't disappear. I endured, and that endurance is the only crown I ever needed. I don't pretend I'm innocent in the way things unfolded. I knew my flaws, my shadows, my hunger for something that could consume me whole. And still, I let you step into that space without warning you how dangerous I could be when I cared. That's on me. I don't blame fate, timing, or misunderstandings. I blame my choice to feel deeply in a world that rewards numbness. I chose intensity, and intensity always demands a sacrifice. You should know that I didn't fall apart loudly. There was no dramatic collapse, no one to witness it. I kept showing up, kept functioning, kept wearing the version of me the world expects. That's the cruelest part of it, how invisible the damage was. Inside, I was learning how to live with a constant ache, how to carry you like a secret I couldn't confess without losing control. Strength isn't always standing tall. Sometimes it's standing at all. I stopped believing that love is meant to save anyone. Love doesn't rescue, it reveals. It showed me how far I could go before breaking, how much I could lose and still keep moving. You revealed that to me without trying. And once you see that edge inside yourself, you can't unsee it. Every connection up to you feels measured against that truth, and most of them fall short before they even begin. There were moments I almost softened, moments I thought maybe I could let myself feel again without consequence. But memory is a ruthless teacher. It reminds me how easily I gave you access, how naturally I handed you the parts of me I guard, now like territory. I don't regret trusting you. I regret forgetting myself while doing it. That mistake won't happen again. I don't miss you in the way people expect. I don't crave your presence or replay your smile like a broken habit. What I miss is the version of me that existed before the fall, the man who still believed connection could be safe. You didn't destroy that belief alone, but you were the final proof that it was fragile. And fragile things don't survive in my world. Understand this clearly. If I ever sound distant, cold, or unreachable, it's not punishment, it's protection. I learned that some doors, once open, never truly close without damage. I choose control now, even if it costs me warmth. I choose clarity over comfort. That choice keeps me standing, even when standing feels empty. So let these words exist without response. You don't owe me anything, not understanding, not regret, not acknowledgement. This was never about pulling you back into my life. It was about releasing you from the part of me you still occupied. I fell, I changed, and I survived the man I used to be. And that survival is the only truth I carry forward.